right. Good afternoon. My name is Lynette Territz, and I'm the Director of Operations at the Albany County Land Bank. It is 3:18 on Wednesday, October 15, 2025. We are calling to order a meeting of the Land Bank's Real Estate Committee, and we're holding this meeting remotely per New York State Open Meetings Law. This meeting is available on the Land Bank's YouTube channel for listening and viewing. Today on the call participating in the committee, we have the following board members: Sam Wells, our Vice Chair, Joe Seaman Graves, our Secretary, and Natisha Alexander, our Treasurer. From the Land Bank staff, we have Sean McGuire, Executive Director, Jason Chicoine, our Development Specialist, Lillian Futch, our Operations Coordinator, and Shelby Disla, our Administrative Coordinator. The agenda, which has been circulated to the committee members, maintains 8 items. The first item is the review and approval of the minutes for August 2025 and September 2025.
Lynette, did Charlie drop off? Because he had said he was going to be on a call. I just want to make sure we have him in attendance if he's on the phone.
Oh, I see. Charlie, are you there?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So also joining us is Charles Toohey, our Chairman. All right, so we just have to review and approve the minutes.
Yeah, we just made a motion.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the minutes for August and September 2025?
So move, Natisha.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. Okay, and next on our agenda are new acquisitions, which we don't have. So we'll move on to new dispositions, and I'll let Shelby Disla take over from here.
So we're going to start off with 202 Kent Street. We have applicant 1392. This applicant plans to bulk up rehabilitation of the property to bring it up to code. The scope of work includes new framing, windows, roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, flooring, kitchen, and bathroom. The applicant owns additional properties at 2123 Justin Street, which is a 2-family, and 4446 North Manning Boulevard, and estimates the rehabilitation cost of $151,500. This applicant has worked with us in the past, and 202 Kent Street needs a lot of work, and due to the applicant's history and work that they've done in the past with us, staff recommends approval of applicant 1392.
I would just say, don't worry too much about that asking price. We did not get a chance to go through and do an updated scope of work on this. So I don't think that the offer price is too far off considering the amount of work that needs to be done here.
Just a quick clarification. We said, did he complete the property at Judson Street in North Manning? Those were completed projects?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no issue with this.
Yeah.
I've received so many emails, so I'm totally confused. I can't find this matrix. All I can find is the enforcement and compliance. I get 3 or 4 emails from you. This is a problem for me.
Charlie, it's in the same chain about 2 emails up. I just had to do the same thing. I'll forward it to you right now.
I don't have the matrix for this. All I can say. Programs, enforcement, compliance, matrix, I have slides. Ask other committee members to do their approval, because I can't do it, I'm blind.
Charlie, I'll resend it over right now. Give me 1 second.
Shelby, it'll be just send him the one with the for A and D, because there are a lot of emails in that one chain.
Yeah, I gotcha. Alrighty, Charlie, you should have received it. Let me know if you did, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
Go ahead with the meeting.
Okay. All right, so then, would I just call a motion?
Oh, no, we'll keep going through the
All right.
whole list and we'll do it all at the end.
All right, great. Let's move on to the next one, Shelby.
Perfect. I wanna make sure it was attached. Seems like that one wasn't attached, so I already sent it. Okay, so I'll move forward with, 325 First Street. So we received 3 applications for this one. Unfortunately, 2 of them were incomplete. I'll go over the 2 incomplete ones first. So for applicant 1748 and applicant 2162, the application was incomplete, and these were the missing materials that were missing for the application. So we have applicant number 1's organization and its members have not yet provided a part of their application review. Specifically, this includes a physical address for applicant number 1 as PO Box 6 cannot be accepted for verification, a photo ID and tax return for applicant number 2, and proof of funding for both applicants to demonstrate financial capacity. Additionally, because applicant number 1 indicated that taxes are filed under the business name, the Land Bank had requested the LLC's article of organization and operating agreement. And then beyond the missing documents, the Land Bank also raised questions regarding previous property activity, noting that applicant number 1's organization purchased 524 Clinton Avenue in 2021, but no construction permits have been located. The applicant have been asked to provide an update on the project's current status and progress. And then finally, there was an outstanding 2025 property tax balances associated with several parcels owned by applicant number 1's organization, including those previously acquired from the Land Bank. And then the applicant, again, had been asked to confirm the payment status and provide documentation of payment for each listed property. And then we have the second incomplete application that's being referred to as NA, because we weren't able to get him in our files since this application had no materials attached and didn't have a full name provided. So the application that was complete for 325 First Street was applicant 2164. This applicant is owner of a construction company and proposes to self-perform the rehabilitation of the property using the original blueprint design. While most of the work will be completed, it will hire licensed subcontractors for plumbing and electrical work. The applicant also owns 46 Briar Avenue, Albany, New York. Approval of applicant 2164 as applications for applicant 1748 and 2162 were determined to be incomplete.
Are there any questions?
No questions here on that one. I agree with the recommendation.
Thanks, Sam. All right, Shelby.
Perfect. So we're gonna move on to 557 South Pearl Street, which was an application made by applicant 2165. Actually, I apologize, we missed one. So we have 352 First Street. We have the same two incomplete applicants that applied for 252 First Street. We also have applicant 2164 and applicant 1392. So applicant 2164 was the one that staff recommended to be approved for 325 First Street. And then staff is recommending to approve applicant 3192, who we had recommended to approve 202 Kent Street. As, of course, the other two applications are incomplete, and applicant 2164 has already been recommended to be approved for 325 First Street. And therefore, since again, applicant 1392 has demonstrated quality of their work, we thought it'd be well suited to also take on 352 First Street.
Question, which of the two properties, between 352 and 202 is in, better condition?
I would say 352 First Street.
All right, I would personally be okay offering 202 to one applicant 1392. And then we need to do something different and market 352 again. So I'm not in favor of giving one applicant two properties to operate as rentals in one month period.
I guess my question, along the lines of what Joe was sort of saying there is, both 1392 and 2164, we're applying for two properties, and we went with 1392 here for the second recommendation. Just curious, if we had any, what the reasoning was behind that. And it's something we've done before in the past where the capacity exists, especially for a building that is a bit more of a lift. And then, where one applicant maybe isn't as tested as the other, right? They're new and we want to see how they perform on one property before they get more, whereas the other is a known entity kind of thing. So I guess, could you go more into that, the difference between the two for the recommendation?
Yep, so that, you're exactly right, Sam. Applicant 2164 is a new applicant, and we wanted to just give him the opportunity to work on the one to see, if he can actually follow through. And then the other applicant has, shown in the past that he's capable of completing the project. So there is history there, and there is known performance for that one.
Does 1392, you expect them to have the capacity to do two projects at the same time?
We do, but however, if the board feels that we should just, proceed with the one, we're happy to do that. If that's your recommendation.
How long have we had 352 First Street for?
We've had that one for years.
I'll go look one.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Sean's gonna look that up right now.
And
So like 202 Kent.
Sorry, keep going.
I'm sorry, Sam. I was gonna say 202 Kent Street, that one sat for a long time as well. So, of the two, we would prefer to, transfer the 202 Kent Street to a new owner.
Yeah, that one may be closer to demolition and or, just needs a bit more experience and experienced hands, so to speak.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yes, exactly. But again, the other applicant, they're brand new. They don't really have a history with the land bank. We don't know, we don't have a lot of information about their performance. So we figured we'd, approve the one or request approval for the one, see how it goes, and then moving forward.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, no, someone walked by in the background.
Oh, okay.
I was just to say, I not opposed to what Joe's saying here. So if
So it looks
Charlie, you
like-
feel similarly, I'm okay with, we can table 352 for a period of time. I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with moving forward with it too. If we don't have much faith, we're gonna find an alternate, more local buyer, so to speak.
Mhm. And then to answer your question too, Sam, 352 First Street, we've had that one since January of 2021. So it's gonna be going on 5 years.
Can I ask what, from your point of view, why have we held that for so long? I know nobody on staff has been here that long, but what's holding this property back at 352?
I don't have a good answer for that.
No, yeah, and that's a very good question, Joe, and as you pointed out, we haven't been here that long to really understand why some properties were held longer than others.
Well, let me
But-
let me retract that a little bit.
Okay.
Prior, we have a different strategy here for listing properties. In the past, if you remember, we would bring up, I don't know, half a dozen buildings at most in a sales cycle in a month. We make them available. We would see if we got applications, and then if we did or if we didn't, we may or may not continue to make it available. So we would delist the property. So some of these buildings that have, some of our properties that we seem to have sat on for a long time weren't always available in a sales cycle, and so they weren't always being pushed out there to, as an opportunity. What would happen though, like if it was off cycle, if somebody expressed an interest in it, it would then find its way into a cycle. And so we just have a different approach here where we're trying to make more properties more regularly available. So that's probably the best I can offer for an explanation. It was probably just a management strategy.
Makes sense. I guess where I'm getting with this is we've been holding it a while. We have a $3,500 offer. It looks like the description of work is copy and paste from the other property that applicant 1392 wants to buy. So I'm not putting too much into that $151,000 is accurate to this property. I'm assuming don't have an estimate of what it would take to restore this ourselves, like a condition assessment of the property?
We used to
Not
pay
right now,
TAP,
no.
we used to pay TAP to do that.
Well, and I guess what I'm getting is this is an interesting one for me because it doesn't look terrible from the outside. It doesn't look like it's going to fall down. That could be completely wrong once I go inside, right? But what would it take for us to get this to a spot where we could sell it to a home buyer for a reasonable cost? Like this isn't
Yeah.
a
Well, we'd have to
completely
prove-
dilapidated building. It's not a new build, but it's definitely worth more than $3,500 to the right person.
We'd have to sorry, Joe, we'd have to program it. Right now, we don't have any funds available to rehab it. We have all of our funds programmed to other properties.
Understood. I guess open to board feedback. Like I personally just don't want to see one applicant lowballs for two properties and they both become rentals in the same sale cycle.
That's fair. I'm okay with
No,
tabling this and doing a little more work on it, maybe. So, maybe we table it for a few months and see if we get additional offers.
And Sean,
Yeah, and in the meantime, we can look and see where we might find something. I mean, the challenge with these, right, is the rehab costs are far more than we're gonna get back. And so we tend to try to program these into grant funds so we can capital stack and, reduce our exposure on it. Absent that, we would put our own funds into this and then, sell it for a much more substantial loss than if we were able to capital stack with some other grant funds.
no, and I completely get the risk there. I guess I'd like to at least, pause and explore properties like this a little bit more. Would it be possible at all to? Oh, I'm sorry, Sean.
No, I was gonna say, Joe, that's exactly why we brought all of our real estate pieces into a real estate committee, was to be able to say, let's pause and think about this, and come back around because, it's not necessarily the case that we have something else over there, but, we are gonna invest in our Flip the Block initiative and, it's in the same vicinity. So it might be worthwhile, getting one moved along, see how that goes, but taking a pause on the other.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's feasible, not to, ask too much, but would we, if possible, be able to get a tour of this property or a similar property, at least myself. I'd like to see the inside, see what we're working with, and start trying to figure out how to get properties like this where they need to be.
Yeah.
I've driven past this.
Anytime,
It
anytime
looks,
you want to, yeah.
yeah.
Anytime a board member wants to go see a property, you just give us a holler here and we will find the time to meet you out there. So absolutely.
All right. So I guess in terms of this call, I'm for pausing on this one. If,
Can we get one out the door today? Can we say do one and pause on one?
Yeah, I think
well, for
that's
sure. Yeah. I just don't want to give the same applicant two properties in
That's
one.
right. I hear
Yeah.
you, I hear you.
Yep. So move forward with 202 Kent, and then we'll table 352 First Street is what I'm hearing.
Good.
All right. So no action right now. We'll take a look.
And are we saying table as in not put it back on the for sales list?
No,
Or
I
just
would
want it back on the,
definitely back on the for sale list. Let's see what other offers come in. And, we'll just, you can tell the applicant, that the board wants to, take a little more time with this one.
All right.
sounds good.
So we're effectively rejecting the other offers though, as they stand.
Yeah, the incomplete ones, yes. And then, 2164, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to 557 South Pearl Street. Applicant 2165 had applied, but unfortunately they don't have the funds to complete their project. They also don't have the funds for just the property within itself. And to give you a little background on this property, 557 South Pearl Street was previously approved for sale in January 2025, but another applicant, they were approved, but the other applicant didn't close. They kind of just went MIA. So we recommend putting this back on the for sales list, since again, the applicant that had applied doesn't have the sufficient funds.
Agreed. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you. So we're moving on to Cedar Grove Road. So we have two applicants for this property. We have applicant 2166 and 2161. Applicant 2166 mentioned the lot improvements will consist of reclaimed pallet wood garden beds, a shallow hand pumped well, and an underbrush removal. They also shared correspondence between them and the town of New Scotland, building inspections that those intended use have been approved. And then applicant 2161 owns a construction company called Rolando Construction and Repair Company Incorporated. Their intended use are pretty similar. They both plan on doing gardening. The applicant 2166 plans on making it a more intimate space for her friends and family, whereas applicant 2161 plans on just fencing the area and doing gardening. Staff recommends approving applicant 2166 because of the material that was provided. It was well thought out. Research was done. The tax map was looked into. We did have some concerns because that's a heavy wooded area, but applicant 2166 was confident that they'd be able to fulfill their intended use over the years.
So just to be clear, I think we're recommending 2166 based on the additional efforts that the applicant made to really research the project, and seems like, to me that would be a more successful application because of those extra efforts. Okay. I'm,
Correct.
I'm,
It's not an easy piece, it's not the easiest piece of property, but it's probably the best option we've seen, period.
got it. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alrighty. And now we're moving on to 8 and 11 Mohawk Street, which I believe Lynette will be taking over.
Thanks, Shelby. So, this applicant, he was initially under an option agreement, which expires in November. And instead of renewing that option agreement, we recommended that we just, return to the board and request authorization to convert this into an agreement from to purchase the property. Now he's already, I'm sorry, let me look at this. The plan is to assemble the adjoining vacant, say that again?
Oh, no, sorry. There's folks in the background of my call and I forgot to mute myself. Keep going.
That's all right. Yeah, so he wants to join vacant parcels at 7, 9, 11, and 12 Mohawk Streets in order to construct 2 3-unit residential townhome buildings. He's already been in contact with the lender. Let's see, he's working with CPC for the financing. He's working through requesting the necessary approvals and permitting. So he's actively working on this project. So instead of recommending another option agreement, again, we thought it would just be best to, allow him to purchase the property with a 2-year enforcement mortgage. Are you there?
Any questions on that one?
Questions?
No, sorry, I missed a little bit of what you're saying. So it sounds like the project's moving forward and that they've got what feels like a pretty, they've got things moving and are ready to take this to the next step, right?
Exactly. They have everything lined up, everything in place.
Perfect.
So it just didn't make sense on the option agreement at this point.
That makes sense to me.
Fine by me.
Does anyone?
No.
Okay.
Fine with me.
How do we do a motion?
You have to do a vote.
All right, so, can I have a motion to, proceed with these dispositions?
So moved.
Second.
A sec. Okay, thanks, Joe.
Then, right, all those in favor? Aye?
But I do have a
Alright.
question. Does this motion have to, do we have to specify that we're taking out one of the properties or no? And I guess that's a question probably for Sean.
I think we can reflect that correctly in the minute. So the motion, so why don't I restate that for our live stream here? So the motion is to approve 202 Kent Street, 325 First Street, 557 South Pearl Street, Cedar Grove Road, and 8 and 11 Mohawk Street to the applicants as discussed. 202 Kent Street will be 1392. 325 First Street is 2164. 557 South Pearl Street is, we're not doing that one. We're putting that back on, correct. Cedar Grove Road is 2166, and 8 and 11 Mohawk Street is
We're just converting that to a, purchase.
2053, right, yep, purchase with a 2-year enforcement.
Did you have any further questions, Natisha?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. All right, and then now we'll move over to the new enforcement and compliance matters. All right, Lillian will take over from here.
Hi, everyone. This is Lillian Fudge. I am going over the enforcement and compliance matrix here. The first item on the matrix is... Sorry, what's that?
Closer to the microphone, please.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The first item on the matrix is 36 Beverly Avenue, and this is a buyer request from applicant number 2087. The buyer has requested an extension of the enforcement mortgage due to delays in the rehabilitation project resulting from family obligations. The buyer resumed active work on the property and is making steady progress toward completion. Additional time is needed to complete the remaining rehabilitation activities, and an extension of approximately 3 months is requested to allow for the project completion. But we recommend a 12-month extension to allow the buyer to complete the rehab project in totality.
Just a question, does the buyer believe he can complete everything in 3 months? Or just a portion of the work in 3 months?
No, he believes that he should be able to complete the entire project within 3 months. I did a walkthrough recently of the property, and they've done most of the rough-ins. They've already been putting up sheetrock, and they're getting ready to do some of the finished work, put down flooring and all of that. So we believe they will be done within 3 months, but you know, again, we want to just give that extra time in the event something happens.
Can I offer a middle ground for the board to consider? Can we tell him 6 months, maybe approve 12, but just tell him 6, and then if it goes past 6, staff doesn't have to come back to the board for additional approval?
Yeah, so that's how we had planned it, that we would, you know, let him know that he has that additional time, but we wanted to just come to the board once.
Oh, okay. Oh, yep, works for me then.
Awesome, thank you, Joe.
Any other questions
None here.
about 36 Beverly? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 2, it's 52 Delaware Street in Albany. This is for applicant number 736. The buyer is requesting a 1-year extension of the enforcement mortgage due to delays caused by contractor availability. Work is expected to resume in November, and the buyer has previously demonstrated the ability to successfully complete rehabilitation projects with us in the past. So we recommend a 12-month extension to allow the buyer to complete the rehabilitation project.
I would just a quick note for this one. This property does need the vacant building registration has expired for this one, and the one permit they have expires in 3 weeks. So I just before we, I'd make it a condition that they have the building at least registered as vacant, in order to give them the extension.
Okay, perfect. I will definitely let them know that.
Oh, and for the record, 36 Beverly is currently registered as vacant, though that expires in a few months as well.
Okay.
But they've got time for that. Yep.
Okay, any other questions for 52 Delaware Street?
All right, and then I just have, we got a request from the Affordable Housing Partnership. So I have a new item C, if you'll let me add that here. Affordable Housing Partnership had purchased 270 3rd Street from us. They have the Albany Community Land Trust, had applied to the New York State Home Program for rehab funding for 2 of their land bank properties it owns, 270 3rd Street and 311 3rd Street. There is a reverter on the 270 3rd Street that they have asked to remove, and that's actually because the requirements for the home funding from New York State would require that they don't have that on there. We would note that there are 3 open code violations. There is no enforcement mortgage, but just has that reverter piece. Recognizing that the Land Trust, has been a partner of ours, and the funding is necessary for them to continue to rehab this home, staff recommendation is to allow for the removal of the reverter in order to obtain those funds from New York State.
Great, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
Fine with me.
All right, so can I have a motion to approve the new enforcement and compliance matter? So that would be 36 Beverly Avenue, approving that enforcement extension, 52 Delaware Street, approving that enforcement mortgage extension under the conditions that they file the vacant building registration form and renew their permit, and then for 273rd Street to remove that reverter.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Did you want to go over the lot?
Well, I
I have
wanted a time check here, because we have a 4 o'clock stop, and maybe we hold on this, but I did send over to everybody just a list of the land bank. I should slide over. Just a list of the different land bank programs that we have in place, including, we'll add some inactive pieces here, but yes.
I don't mean to, sorry to cut you up, but I have a question about enforcement before we go to the next item. The property on, I don't remember the address, the property on Westerlo that I have reached out to the owner about, that we had an enforcement case open on. Last name is Cox. Have we heard anything? Is there an update there?
No, we haven't heard anything back.
Okay, I'll hit you on a side so that we can figure out what next step should be.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to either reach out to me or Lillian? We can
Yep.
get together on that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I do have that land bank program piece there, but I did have also, because in the executive committee, we asked about the foreclosure, or the deed in lieu of foreclosures and enforcement. So if we could set aside maybe the land bank programs, I can give you that update on those properties, which is not on your agenda. You don't have anything in front of you, so it was just based on the question during the executive committee today. So what we have here, no, because I don't think we have to discuss anything of necessarily of a contract basis, but if we start talking about actions, we should probably go into executive session to discuss that, but I got about 4 minutes left on this committee. But we do, for anything that was sold during the period of 2016 to 2019 with open enforcement mortgage, we're outside of that 6-year window to be able to effectively enforce those items. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 properties that sort of fit that condition. We're going through those. Lynette's identified one that we may have a potential interest in. These are all ones that have outstanding property taxes that go along with them too. So there are a number of pieces there, but I just wanted to give you an update there. Lynette's going to look at some of these, strategically to see, are there ones that, we want to approach the buyer about and try to get it off their hands. And we would probably some of our acquisition monies to satisfy the open taxes and get that back to us free and clear. But we also, I know, we talked about it like in the past, the Ontario Street and that Yates Street property. We don't have really a good solution there. That's the one with that apartment that spans 2 tax parcels. So there isn't a good outcome there. But I just want to give you an update. We can give you a little bit more. I did not send the sheets out to you just because there's a lot of information here. If you'd like to have a lot of information, happy to get it to you, but we can probably digest this a little bit more to let you know what we're looking at. But that's what we would, if there's a strategic move to reacquire the properties, I think we should. go down that path. But these are not ones that I would spend time on trying to get back through a judgment if they're not willing to sign it back over in a deed in lieu of foreclosure or just a straight acquisition process.
Sean, do we know how many are upcoming in future years?
Lynette's got that lead here. Yeah. She's gonna count them now. 9.
For 20 to 2022.
That's from 20 to 2022.
Okay, I mean, I personally, let's look at the ones we've already lost ground on a little bit and see if there's any strategic play there. But I really want to get ahead of the next round coming our way, so we don't, we're not sitting here in a year and then all of a sudden we have another 10 properties that we can't recapture.
Yeah, that's why we're up to the 2019, where I think we're in a safe spot here. But I think maybe next month, why don't we go over those that we think are strategic acquisitions, and then I think the rest we can say, I think our goal would be to rule out acquisition on those, and then make a determination to just release old enforcement mortgages so we can clear up title down the road, and then where we, can acquire something because it makes sense, we'll make that attempt. And if we can't, I think that, we'll probably take the same approach, that it doesn't really we don't really have a good position to reacquire that property, short of, negotiating a sale.
Sure, it might be a case-by-case basis, but I'd like to see them all, and, we can talk about it at the next meeting, if that works for the board.
Yeah, no, I think, we could do that. And then I think on the other piece, this goes along a little bit, I think, Joe, to your question about like our strategy on, pricing, on the program description, like the lots for less program, that's where, we sell select vacant lots for $100. That includes the standard closing costs. I think we could do more to flush out exactly what goes into that program. It could be properties that are undersized. For example, Lynette was asking about a property that we had in the past, and it wasn't, we try to stick to like a 25-foot lot for infill, and anything smaller that becomes really challenging. And so, there might be things that are, fit below our minimum infill dimension, and then maybe a holding period too. But if you could take a look at that, if we could take a little bit of time next month to address, one of these programs. I think my goal would be to get through reviewing and updating all these different programs, one every month. I think that would just be a good way for us to take a look at what we're doing and making sure that we remain current.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. We don't have anything else. Does the committee need anything else from us?
I'm all set.
Otherwise, we'll stand adjourned, and don't go too far if you're on the finance committee meeting, because that meeting starts once we make a couple of transitions here. We'll be right back.